that you said the word gray, because when I think of a woman who is embodied and thriving, she adds color to the room. She adds color to the world. And so there's no benefit to women shrinking because when we stand in our power,
Yay! Christy, welcome. Welcome to the show. Super excited to have you here. Hypnosis, something that I've done once, and I shared this with you, and I don't think it really worked. So today, Christy's gonna hypnotize me a little bit in the end, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to start with your story because I love stories. Tell me what led you to become a therapist and start working with subconscious mind. Tell me a little bit before that.
Yeah, I love to say that hypnotherapy found me.
I love that.
When I was a middle school math teacher, there was a point in my life where I felt like I wasn't fulfilled anymore. There was this void and I couldn't figure out what that was. And so because of this void, I decided to go on a road trip one summer with my two dogs. And it was a soul searching journey. It was a journey of like just figuring out, why am I feeling this missingness, this not enoughness, this unfulfillment? So during that journey, that's when I had a lot of time to sit with myself, sit with my feelings. And at the end of this 2-week trip, I came home and didn't feel like it was home anymore. And that was when hypnotherapy found me. I was scrolling on Instagram feeling like, oh man, this doesn't feel like home anymore. My life doesn't feel right. And that night when I scrolled on Instagram, I discovered a woman named Marissa Peer. And she had this 1-hour masterclass and I signed up for it immediately. I was so curious and I was just listening to her talk about like subconscious work and hypnotherapy and what it really is. And at the end of the 1-hour class, the person interviewing her was like, hey, can you hypnotize me right now? And she's like, okay. And so she's hypnotizing him, but she's also hypnotizing the entire audience. Oh, wow. And so I'm listening and I'm being hypnotized from my bed. And that's when I discovered, oh my goodness, everything that I thought I knew about the way I operate, the way I think, the way I perceive is completely off. And so just to make a long story short, the first scene I regressed back to in that hypnotherapy session was an image of me as a newborn baby in the incubator. And this was a Polaroid photo of me. I've always seen it growing up. But while I was in this meditative state, I looked at this photo and I realized, oh my goodness, that's how I see myself. That's why I've created the life that I've created. I looked at my life then and I literally created an incubator around myself. I lived in the middle of the desert by myself in a 3-bedroom house. And I worked 12 to 15-hour days as a school teacher, always inside of my classroom, like before school started, during school, after school. It was literally an incubator. And so when I made that connection, I realized, oh, this isn't the life for me. And I've been feeling this void, this emptiness, this lack of fulfillment because I didn't create a life by design. I created a life by default and running on subconscious limiting beliefs my whole life.
Yeah.
So that's how I found hypnotherapy, or it found me.
I love it. I wanted you to tell me more about what did feel wrong. Like when you said, I felt like I'm not fulfilled and it's not my life anymore. Like what was exactly that? So like more women who are listening us right now also can spot that if they have it.
Yeah. So like on paper, I lived a really good life. By the time I was 26, I was a homeowner. I had a 10-year job, meaning I couldn't get fired. My students loved me. The families loved me. I just lived a really comfortable, fulfilling life. I was making impact. I was really good at what I did. But deep, deep down, it was almost unignorable. Like this feeling of like, oh, there's something else. Like, yes, this looks good, but it doesn't feel like how it should feel. It was a lot of operating from like, oh, I should feel this way because I have a secure job. I should feel this way because I should be so grateful. Like, so that was a conversation I had with myself all the time. I should be this and I should be that. And so for other women who are listening, if there's any moment in your life where you feel like you should,
Mm-hmm.
that's something to
Yeah.
lean into, because it's not about how you should feel, it's how you do feel. And at the time, I was not acknowledging how I really felt for a long time. And that's why when I took this 2-week road trip on my own, that's when I was forced to sit with how I really felt. And it's like, oh, being in nature, I felt free. I felt liberated. I felt like I could do anything. I could be anything, and anything was possible. Like, you get really humbled by the majestic nature, waterfalls, mountains, trees. Everything was just so much bigger than me. And it made my problems so much smaller. And when my problems became smaller, more became possible. And so when more became possible, that's when things started coming to me. So that's when hypnotherapy found me. That's when personal development found me. That's when I became so curious, and I started doing all sorts of things like, okay, hypnotherapy, I'm going to travel to Austin. I'm going to explore what's here. I'm going to do all these health and wellness events. And when I realized that my intuition is so powerful, I just started listening to it more and just being open to being curious, being open to like, I'm going to go explore this. I'm going to go explore that. And life didn't, like, that void, it just started to disappear, because I was now operating from a place of curiosity and permission to feel all the things that were coming up.
Yeah, that's so powerful. I so love it. And this, a lot of, I feel like in our days, because we're so busy, we have a lot of to-dos, it's very easy to disconnect from your intuition. And if it like gets back to you and start like whispering something, it's not loud, especially if you like weren't really listening to it. Sometimes you're like, you think maybe it's a fear speaking, right? Or like, oh no, or you don't even like recognize it, right? But I love that you said like, I felt like my intuition was so strong. And you just, I'm going to go and like listen to it. And another beautiful part of it, as I see, is that when you actually trust this, there's no fear, there's curiosity, because everything else will be better for you, you know, from that point on. I have a question. How did you come up with the road trip? Because it's interesting, you know, like some people go to psychedelic retreats. Some people don't even do anything because they think, because you need to disengage from the environment for sure. How did you like, oh, I'm going to go on to 2 weeks like road trip?
Yeah. So that summer, I chose not to teach summer school. I usually teach summer school because, again, the incubator was so strong. Like, I just needed to stay inside of something that was safe. So that summer, I chose not to go to or teach summer school. And my colleagues at the time, they were moving to Oklahoma and they were retiring from teaching. And so in my mind, I was like, oh, I love these people. I want to go with them when they move. And so I made that an excuse for me to go. But instead of me going with them, I came to visit them a week after. So they had already moved, and I used them as like permission and excuse for me to be like, okay, well, since they're going to Oklahoma, I'm going to plan this whole road trip to like get over to Oklahoma. But in the meantime, I'm going to like stop at all these different places. And then I'm going to stop by in Oklahoma. And then on the way back home, I'm going to stop by all these places. And so I've always been such an adventurous girl, and I like to be in the mountains. I like to be in the desert. I like to explore, but I've never explored road tripping by myself, pitching a tent every night. And something about me having my 2 dogs at the time, like, it felt safe. It felt comforting. It felt very adventurous. And on my heart, like, it felt like this was the thing to do. Okay, I have the permission slip. I have loved ones in Oklahoma. I have a safe place to land. So in between California and Oklahoma, that's when I stopped in multiple places in Colorado and Utah. And there were so many camping spots, Telluride, Durango. And then like in Utah, there's Bryce, there's Arches, there's Zion, like all the national parks. And so like, I just started planning this route on how I'm going to go visit my loved ones in Oklahoma, but it was really a trip for me. So I guess that's how I came up with the road trip idea, but it was more like it happened very organically. Like they drove out there, so I'm going to follow them out there.
I love it. So when you came back, how was that transition from a teacher, and you've been there for like 10 years, you said?
5 years.
5 years, okay.
Mhm.
So like, all right, now I'm going to move to Austin, and what's next?
Yeah. So actually, to rewind, the road trip happened in the summer. And then right before, I want to say like the first week of school, that's when hypnotherapy found me. And when hypnotherapy found me, I got super curious, and it just so happened that Marissa Peer was coming to LA. And at the time I was living in California. So she was coming to LA to teach for a whole week. And so I signed up for her school. I came to LA and studied with her. And of course, there's a 1-year program that I had to finish, but I did spend a whole week with her, like the second month of school. And so by December of that school year, I actually graduated her program because I was just obsessed. Like it's a 1-year program, but I did it in 4 months. And before the school year ended, I quit my job. Because it was no longer aligned. So
was it easy?
Yes and no. Mm-hmm. Yes and no. Like it was a no-brainer choice because it was calling me so powerfully. It was just like I couldn't ignore it. The moment I signed up for Marissa Peer's class, I knew my life was about to change. Like I knew that was going to be my last school year. Like I just knew deep down. And I remember the moment I enrolled into RTT, which is rapid transformational therapy, the moment I was on the phone and I enrolled into the school, I was sitting in my car at the school campus before work started and hung up the phone. I'm enrolled. I'm in. I made the deposit and I sit in my car and I wept.
Oh,
because I knew, okay, this is my last school year. And so that school year was magical. I poured everything into those kids and I ended my school year with a trip to Japan.
Oh, wow.
With my students. Yeah. That's how I ended my teaching career.
So memorable. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it all happened very synchronously. There was really not much of a resistance to my change from school teacher to hypnotherapist.
You didn't create much of resistance.
No, it just flowed.
Yeah. Was it ever a moment where it was a pause between saying yes and saying no to your career and like to your past life? Like, did you have that moment?
Yeah. I didn't have that moment until I moved to Austin. So after I quit my job, I sold my house and I just left everything I knew and moved to Austin the following summer. I started my business here in Austin, and there was a couple moments where I felt like I made the wrong choice.
What?
There was a lot of parts that were grieving and missing that teaching career, and also grieving and missing my family. And especially my first time celebrating Vietnamese New Year's by myself here in Austin. There was literally no celebration. It just doesn't exist here. And I grew up with that celebration my whole life. So not having it for the first time, it's like the first time you don't get to experience Christmas or something. I was like, oh, like, crap.
Yeah, I know exactly how you felt.
What have I done? And I was so sad. I was grieving. I was like, oh, if I was still back home, like I would be celebrating with my family. And I even questioned my career choices because my lifestyle had changed so much becoming an entrepreneur. At the time was still a very new person to my family. And so that was something I had to work through too. The family doesn't really know who I am anymore.
Yeah. So when you started your business, I want you to take us over those steps, because there are different opinions of that. Like people say that it's impossible, it's very hard. And other people say, oh, like easy, especially those who are selling like business programs. They're like, oh, just create your business in 1 to 3. I want to hear your opinion. How was that? Was that difficult? Like, was that challenging for you? What did you have to learn, maybe acquire new skills?
In the very beginning, before I even sold my house, I started talking about hypnotherapy on my social media. So while I was still teaching, I was getting clients every now and then.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, before I even officially started my business, all from.
So you announce it to the world.
I was like, hey, I'm studying hypnotherapy. I want to share it with you. If you want to try it, let me know.
Yeah.
And like I was giving super affordable sessions, and I was getting a lot actually. So in the last couple months of my teaching career, I was doing both. And so that gave me the confidence. That gave me the courage to be like, hey, I can do this. I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to sell my house, move to Austin, and start this whole business. And the reason I chose Austin is because one, energetically, this place was calling me like crazy. It was just like, I couldn't ignore it. Like the whole journey of like that void, like couldn't ignore it. So like the calling to Austin, couldn't ignore it, got here, and there were a lot of entrepreneurs here that really supported me on my journey. And it was hard and easy at the same time. Not having the 9-to-5 routine was like a shocker to my nervous system. I was like, oh my goodness, what do I do with this time?
All this time,
Analysis paralysis. What do I do first? Do I like do the social media? Do I go out and get clients? And it was just a lot of questions. And I was around all the right people here in Austin to get started. So I got really lucky when I officially launched my business. I started my first month with $5K. Like,
wow,
I was
nice.
like, not many entrepreneurs. Like, and I had a lot of friends send me resources and teach me how to package and do sales calls and close clients in a package deal versus before when I was teaching, I was selling single sessions. And my first month officially launching, I sold packages.
Okay.
And so the first time I closed $1,800 ever, I was like, freaking out. I was like, oh, that's how people do it. Like the whole concept of closing paid in full $1,800 in a single. My call was only 15 minutes too. So I like
15
minutes.
Okay, yeah.
In 15 minutes, I got on a call with a guy. I told him, here, these are my packages. And then I just waited to see if he would. I was like, yeah. And he was like, okay, done. And then paid in full, ready to go, my first client. And I was like, oh my goodness, I can do this.
That's amazing. Do you remember the first request like that this gentleman had for you, like for the coaching?
I just remember him booking a call on my Calendly because like early on in my business, I was like, okay, I'm going to set up Calendly and I'm going to change the branding on my Instagram. And I had my Canva slides of like my packages and all the things. And he hopped on the call with me and I was just like, why me? Why now? And he was like, I've been watching you.
Okay.
And I trust and I feel like you could really support me. And the things he wanted support in didn't even have to do with what I was marketing. He has a military background and had just things he wanted to work through. He wanted to just feel better. And there's something about me and the way I've shown up. Like he watched my journey as a school teacher all the way until I transitioned into being a hypnotherapist.
So he already had that trust.
Yeah. So he was just like, okay, I'm in. And I just remember that night I closed and then I called my boyfriend at the time and he like comes over, he brings me a bouquet of flowers and a card. Congratulations on your first client. Yeah. So that was great. And then the following month, 0 clients.
Like, pay attention. That's how like, up and down. It's, I guess until you get into that like systematics, and you start growing more systems in your business, it's going to be this. It's going to be a lot of clients and then it's going to be like crickets. So like, don't get discouraged by this. It's the actual natural cycle of like starting your business.
Yeah, I remember that first client that like kind of kickstarted it for me. I closed like 3 more after him for like lower ticket prices. And that's how I got my first 5K month in my first month in business ever. So that felt really good. And then the next month, there was literally nobody. And that's when I realized, okay, I can't just sit around and think I'm going to get lucky every month.
Yes. That's also another big thing. Yeah. You have to like generate that kind of like.
There's a lot of long-term investments, branding, posting consistently, following up, touching base with the people who don't buy.
Yes. Working with the base, like those who are already in your like, circle or CRM, we call it, right?
And market research, like just lots of getting curious, like, okay, why didn't you buy? Why did you buy? What made you tip over the edge? And it was a lot of building those relationships. And eventually I started doing group sessions here in Austin. And that's when I started building a reputation here for doing these group hypnosis events. And eventually I went from like working in every single topic to only working on wealth and abundance.
Yeah.
And that seemed to be like the thing. Yeah. That was the thing that people were looking for. So when I would do these wealth wiring hypnosis sessions, like I would fill up a room, 50 people.
Yeah.
My first ever group hypnosis session at Kuya filled up 55 people.
Wow.
And I was like, this is insane. Like, people want this.
I mean, it's important, if you think about like money, that's technically closing your safety, survival, and then up on level. So like I love that. And it's like fulfillment too, right? So
because I talk about like what's your definition of wealth? Like it's not just money, it's abundance, it's resources, it's love, it's connection, it's freedom.
So it's kind of like, we're targeting just abundance and wealth, but there are a lot of things that goes under or behind this. So I love it. Okay, so what are you focusing on right now? How your business had transitioned from like, I guess, online or like one person closing into like 50 plus, and you visited one of your group sessions. Amazing. I'm going to be honest, I was so tired. So everything I was like halfway sleeping, but I got back into like my childhood, and I worked through a lot of childhood traumas. And I was like, oh, I was actually a very happy child. Like I had everything. My parents loved me. So that was actually amazing. I just left with like this absolutely amazing like feeling of like, oh, that's so good. Yeah. So tell me that story now too.
Yeah. The transition was pretty epic. And I love how my business really mirrors my personal development. So in the early stages of starting my hypnotherapy business, I worked with a lot of men. I worked with a lot of entrepreneurial men because I was learning how to be an entrepreneur. I also had, at the time, limiting beliefs around how much success I could achieve as a woman. And so internally,
tell me more about that.
Yeah, internally, I didn't realize until later that, I still had a subconscious belief that men are more successful than women. And that's why my target were men. Like I worked with a bunch of entrepreneurial men. And when I finally unpacked that my belief is like, men are more successful than women, I decided I'm going to change that. I'm going to rewrite that. So I offboarded all my male clients and I rebranded, and I said, I only work with women now because I get to reinforce the new belief that women can be successful. And so now in the present day, I work with women. I work in women empowerment, in wealth, in abundance, but also in health as well, because health is wealth. And so as I've grown as a woman entrepreneur, my business has also grown with me and transformed with me. And so even the way I operate in my business now is so much more feminine than it used.
That's what I wanted to say. That's probably also you were in that more of a masculine, energy. So that's like attracts like.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like what you were drawing. I had exactly the same story. Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, the messaging, the way I talk, the way I was like, well, the reason your business isn't growing is because you're not doing X, Y, and Z, and like you want to triple your income, do X, Y, and Z. Like it's not more strategies, it's more subconscious work. And it was just very, I don't know, like just message toward toward the man. And now it's like, oh, like, you know, you don't have to run your business the way other people tell you. Like, you get to show up authentically you and be magnetic to the right person and the right clients for you. And like, even the way I'm saying it is like,
yes, I love it.
And the way I show on social media, I'm just like embracing the woman. I feel so much more confident. And I've done a lot of inner work on myself too. Like, so breath work, hypnosis.
Yeah, it doesn't happen overnight. Like that's a transformational journey for sure.
Yeah. So the more I am in touch with myself as a woman, the more my
essence.
The business just reflects that.
Yeah, I love it. And I love that you said, you know, business is your mirror, because it is. Like, if your business isn't doing good, that's not an indicator that, you know, market is bad or financial situation is bad or taxes or people just not buying. It's not that. It's always inside. Like, you got to look what's that block inside of you subconsciously that runs your decision, the way you show up, you know, like what you say, who you sell, like how you operate with your clients from the abundance and nurturing, you know, perspective, or because you just want to sell something, you know, like you're like, I need to sell you this, buy please. So that's a huge thing. So tell me the difference now between the beginning of your business and more of a masculine, I guess. What are those factors that, you know, like you can say, okay, this was more masculine and this is more feminine? Because it's always both, right? It's not that like structure is the masculinity, right? Like following up, like sitting down, following up, it's probably going to be more of the masculine, where the approach and like how you show up, that's the feminine part, you know, like the authenticity, the voice. Tell me those factors that you see. That was the more of a masculine business. This is more of the feminine, and this is how it looks like now.
So I was very influenced by my environment. I was spending a lot of time with entrepreneurial men. I mean, when I first moved to Austin, the way I met people was I would go to the internet marketing party. I would go to different mastermind events. And it was a lot of like also biohacking and like just a bunch of dudes all the time. And I thought that I was always such a guy girl. And I kept re-enrolling myself into that same story that I'm a guy girl, and I kept spending more time with guys. And I ran my business like a guy. I ran my business and consulted with other men. And I was looking into like leaders such as Sam Ovens and Alex Hormozy. And I was just like running my business like Sam Ovens and Alex Hormozy. I'm like, look at me.
No excuses, just do this.
Yeah, do I look like Sam Ovens or Alex Hormozy? No. But yeah, so I was operating like really go, like hustle, and message to the man. And I was interviewing other men and speaking their language so that when I wrote copy for my content, it would sound like them. And this was all very smart and strategic, and it landed because I got a ton of male clients. And over time, it became so exhausting. Like, energetically, I was just tired and I had no sex drive, and I like just was unhappy, and it just didn't feel the same way I felt when I first discovered hypnotherapy. Like, I just really wanted to help people, and I really wanted to share this powerful gift that was given to me in my healing journey. And when I started craving that same feeling I felt when I went on that 2-week road trip, the freedom, the flow,
so it was
nature,
healing.
It was like, I'm craving that feeling again. And so, I actually, after I went through a really, really tough breakup, I was blessed with a business opportunity to work with a online fitness coach, and she has a thriving online fitness program that serves busy working moms. And so she called me out of nowhere, like, and I was going through this really, really difficult time in my personal relationship. She called me and she said, hey, I just let go of my hypnotherapist. Are you available? How much do you charge? If I flew you out to my event, would you do it? But first, I want to get a one-on-one session with you. I'll pay you for it and see if it's a good fit, and then I'll fly you out to my event. So she paid me for a one-on-one. She loved it, flew me out to Virginia for her women's retreat. And this was like fresh out of my breakup. I'm so raw and tender. And I show up to this women's retreat thinking, okay, this is a work opportunity. This is a way for me to sustain myself, like, and grow my business. And it shifted everything, like being around 20 women. Everyone had similar stories, similar feelings and things they needed to work through. And I saw mirrors. And it was the most healing. It was like divinely timed for me to get that phone call, work with her, fly out to Virginia for this women's retreat. And that was when I started transitioning and changing my business, because I was learning about myself as a woman and what I needed, and giving myself that nurture, that attention, that softness. I just showed up differently in my business. So I wasn't like hustle, hustle, hustle. And I wasn't listening to Alex Hormozy and Sam Ovens anymore. I'm like, okay, I'm going to like actually lean into these women that I'm working with and see what they need. And because they needed similar things to what I needed, I was like, oh, it's okay for me to have these needs. It's okay for me to like feel like I don't want to post on social media every single day, or feel like I need like a week off when I'm on my period. Like, okay. And like, it gave me permission to run my business differently, because now I'm working with women. Yeah. And it's like, oh, okay, yes, I'm going to rebrand. I'm only going to work with women, and they're going to get me and I'm going to get them. And it's like, there's so much more softness and openness and like just so much more available to both sides. Yeah.
It's
so
that
now,
sisterhood.
Now I have a business that serves me and the person I'm working with.
Yeah, I love it. It's so beautiful and so powerful. And I love that, again, you leaned into that intuition, didn't push it away, didn't think like, oh, but I already have like success with men, you know? Like, I don't want, like, if I rebrand right now, what if it's not gonna work? Like, how I'm gonna do this? I have all this content, right? Like, just the thoughts that probably maybe women and men who's watching this podcast can experience, right? But then, as you can see, like your example is just showing, like, yeah, there's maybe going to be a pause right there, but it's only going to turn because it's going to be aligned with how you feel, because you are changing. You started as the therapist and you started working with like men, and that what's needed in that moment for you. And then you just lean into like, yeah, I just actually feeling that I want to express more feminine power, like more feminine energy, and that's time for me to shift this. I love that you trusted it.
Yeah, and I love that you pointed out that's what I needed when I started my business, working with men, learning the business, learning the strategies, learning the tactical things. And like, that's what got me started. And now that I still have those systems in place, I get to now be in the feminine.
Experience different side. Yeah. And it's all the part of the big journey. Because there's also another side of the coin, is when it's very common in like spiritual communities, when women are very much in their feminine, nothing wrong with that. But they expect that somehow all of a sudden it's all gonna structure itself. Everything is gonna just be like in front of them with the flow and like not putting any effort into it. But if you wanna, like, I had a consultation yesterday, and she's basically doing healing through watching at the person's eye, like she's channeling something, and it's amazing. I've never heard of it. And then she goes, social media is not for me, like I don't want to do this. I'm like, all right, let's explore something else. Like, what do you feel like can help you, like, to grow as the therapist and help people, serve people? I'm like, how about like local events? And she's in England. She's like, oh no, there are no local events. And I'm like, so how, like, what is the way? She's like, oh, I just want to have one client, and then I want this client to tell all the friends. And then I'm like, yeah, it might work, who knows? But if you don't show up for yourself in the world, whether it's so through, and as you said, you don't have to post every day, you don't have to follow all the, like, this is how you need to do Instagram. I know a lot of like coaches and therapists, they post whenever they feel it, but they have a lot of clients, because it's not about posting, it's about the connection through the, like, am I connecting through the DMs, for instance, or like how am I showing up there? But if you think that uh, if you're not going to do this, then somebody else would, and you need to kind of blend certain things into the physical world and see, okay, but what is my way? How can I show up authentically with this? Because that's like a prerequisite for everything right now. If you're not on social media and you don't want to do a local events, then I'm not sure how else the universe, in God, wants to, like, it's not gonna knock on your door.
Yeah, yeah. And what's landing for me is very similar to something I saw on social media this morning, actually. And it was a fitness coach's post, and she talked about you can't tone a muscle that hasn't already been built.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like,
I love it.
So you can't, like, just attract business when you haven't created that foundation yet. So you get to do and be. There's a season of doing and there's a season of being. So for example, with the muscle toning, right? Well, you got to build that muscle first, and then
you have to put in work. As a former fitness coach, I'll tell you that people are like, oh, you, like, your body is amazing, like, and I'm like, yeah, it's like 9 years of building it. It's like 9, and now I get to go to the gym and do whatever I want and just squat very easily and feel the muscle, feel the body. And I'm like, yeah, I love it. But I put a lot of work into this body, along with nutrition and, and health. Everything is the system. Same thing in business. You can't think or expect it to be very successful if you're not willing to put what it requires in, and skills of, like, structure, system, that will help you to do this. And you have to show up. You have to show up. Like, you need to ask yourself how I can show up in a way with people, others, meetups, or social media, so people can notice me, like, that's, and be like, I want to serve. If you want to serve, go do this, so yeah, that's very powerful. Thank you for sharing that. So we already discussed this, and I want you to tell me, because I know that it's like, this phrase, we all one. And I had such an interesting relationship with this phrase, because I'm like, what do you mean we're not all one? When you're going through, like, spiritual journey and awakening and things like that. And then when I started working with clients, they shift, like, even in fitness, but, like, fitness is a lot of psychology. Like, I've studied psychology while working with fitness clients, because it's way less about fitness and way more about, like, how they open out for you during that session. And I've noticed that we have same things. Like, it's literally maybe 2 or 3 different topics, but the stories are the same with a different sauce, of course. So what have you noticed right now? Like, what are the main subconscious blocks or patterns that you're noticing in women? Because I feel like also with the shift of society and reality and, like, our progress in general as human beings, those things also change. So yeah, tell me what you see.
Yeah, ever since I started working with women, it has been almost like freaky for me to, like, experience hearing people say the same thing over and over and over again. And like you said, like, it's a different sauce, right? But, like, the essence is the same. And so what I'm seeing a lot in women, especially when I'm doing deep inner child reprogramming, is oftentimes throughout childhood, there's a moment where one decides their voice doesn't matter. That one's so, like, apparent. That one comes up over and over again. My voice doesn't matter, or I get to stay in my bubble. I get to stay in my lane. I get to shrink myself for the comfort of everyone else around me. That's a very common one that I see all the time. Something that's also very common is this feeling of questioning, am I safe to be? Am I safe to receive? Am I safe to just like, am I safe to receive without feeling like I have to earn it?
Yeah.
There's this like belief in a lot of women that I work with is like, I have to perform, I have to do in order to be enough.
Yeah.
And it's like, deep down as a woman, we always have this question on our heart, or at least I do, and a lot of the women I work with do, is like, am I enough?
Mm-hmm.
That question is always lingering
Yeah.
in the heart. Am I enough? Am I doing enough? Am I being enough? And so a lot of times we get to remind ourselves, like, it's not about the doing. It's not about, like, when you look at a baby, they don't have to do anything.
Okay, this baby's not enough.
Like,
You're not enough. Sorry.
And if you look at a baby and you remember that, oh, we all came from that.
Mm-hmm.
We were all once a miracle in someone's tummy.
Yeah.
We were all once a precious child that was born into this world enough as they are without having to do, even when they're throwing a tantrum, even when they're crying, they are enough.
Mm-hmm.
And yet so many of us women grow up and start feeling like they have to be or do or perform to be enough, when it's like, it's a birthright.
I think it's very interesting because I feel that was very insightful for me once I felt like that's all what you're saying right now is literally like the deep work that I've done as well. I think that in the I'm enough could be also perceived in two ways, like just from the loving perspective of like, look, I just can be here and I'm worthy to have a role, even if I'm not like, hustling and like not sleeping, like all of this stuff. And the same point is that deep inside, I feel like, at least for me, there's internal compass that really showing me that, hey, like what happened there and the way maybe you showed up in that situation wasn't really you. Like, let's discover what's going on. Or not even like being like, am I doing enough things? But I'm like, I know that I just want to explore all my potential. And I guess maybe it's because of the fitness. I keep myself very high accountable to myself, but that's not anymore from the rigid perspective of I'm going to punish you. It's from the loving perspective. And like, hey, if you need the rest, do this, right? I just get so like fired up with the life I built and everything I do. So I'm like, I ground myself in nature, but it's never like that, a feeling of like almost separation from the loving part of you that loves you, and that like maybe like a parent who told you like, oh, like look at this, like look at your friend, she's doing so good, but like why can't you do the same, right? So that's, I think, like that's the voice as well. And also competition between men and women, it's almost like insanely, especially in Austin, I feel like, because it's a lot of like healthpreneurs, so I've noticed myself that I'm sitting in Sapien Center and I'm talking to the guys, and it's almost like we're like trying to measure, like who wakes up earlier, goes on a walk or run, does how many minutes of cold plunge. And I'm like sitting there and I remember that huge pressure on my shoulders. I'm like, oh my gosh, it feels so bad. Like I have no flow. And I'm like, oh, wow. I'm like, wait. And that was almost like, a snap. And I'm like, oh, I don't have to compete with them.
No.
Like I can wake up at 7:30 and feel okay. I don't have to wake up at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And if that's for you guys, like it's for all women who like maybe feels like this way, like, the high achieving like culture, that you don't have to do this. You don't have to compete with men. They are like, you want to wake up at 4? There's your green flag. Go do this. I get to feel my body. And like right now, I don't even have an alarm. It's just like I wake up like natural at the same time. And it was so good to feel that, yeah, I don't have to compete with anyone. And especially in business as well, right? Like, what is your KPI, like KPI right now? Like, what are you doing? Like, oh, tell me, like, and you're like, well, you run your business because you're a man, and like, it's okay, you do you. So like that separation from like allowing yourself to be feminine and to be a woman, and not to be in that race, of like, I need to keep up with the, like social media or the health, like biohacking events and things like that. Yeah. So that was powerful.
Yeah, I noticed something very different recently with myself and the way I show up too, because I used to be like that, where like if someone's talking about like, oh, I did this much time in the cold plunge, or like this is how my business is doing, I would feel like I would have to throw out a number too.
Yeah.
But as of more recently, when I get asked these questions, I would just like pivot and be like, actually, I don't want to talk about my business right now. What's really present on my heart is actually I have this desire to go to Vietnam and explore my heritage. And like I completely just changed the conversation.
Yeah.
And in the past, I wouldn't have felt confident or secure enough to do that. But now it's like, no, like I don't want to talk about this, so I'm not going to.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, just saying no to when you feel like, yeah, it's not, and when you probably want to talk about it, you open to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's totally, yeah. Okay, something else that you notice with women. So childhood, I guess that's the voice. Not enough, right? Something else.
Yeah, and like quieting the voice. Yeah, and making like there's a pattern of shrinking in women that I see more often.
That's powerful.
Than in men, actually.
Yep.
Like for men, the pattern that I see is like, okay, men don't go into shrinking, men go into like puffing up their chest.
Yeah.
I have to be strong. I have to be powerful. I have to be the protector. And because I have to be strong, I can't feel my feelings. Whereas for the woman, it's like, ooh, I want to make everyone else comfortable, so I'm going to shrink. Yeah. Whereas a man, it's like, oh, there are people that need to be looked out for. I'm going to puff up. It's like complete opposite. It's so interesting.
That's amazing. So how, I guess, like, if you can bring the examples of like, where do they feel this? Like, is there any situation in public or in just like their day-to-day life?
Yeah. So in sessions, sometimes it could go back to like a really traumatic event, and sometimes it can go into something super benign, super innocent, like a moment where someone sneezed in the classroom and then the teacher made a comment and the child goes, oh, I can't make a noise because it's not safe for me to make a noise. Or I'll just think of a very recent one. Because everyone's going through a heavy experience, I'm going to stay quiet so that everyone else can process their experiences. It's a tendency to care for the others by diminishing oneself so that everyone else can be comfortable, but that actually doesn't serve the purpose, but that's the meaning that we make in our minds, or that's the meaning that women often make in their minds. But in fact, you and I both know that when we share, when we talk about things, it's so much more healing and powerful. And yet the story we keep falling back into is like, okay, keep it to myself, make myself small, make everybody comfortable. But then when we get together and do like a group hypnosis and we share with each other and we talk with each other, it's the most powerful thing.
Yeah, I say sharing is caring so much. So my life and my everything changed once I learned how to actually open up. Like my social media, I want to tell my story not because I want to show up like, oh, look at me, because I want to show that it is possible to get through all of that. And the feedback I get is like, well, thank you for sharing. Now I feel that I'm okay. Like, because we're in a interesting time where we feel that we are surrounded by people, because social media, like, illusion that we are so connected with our friends. However, I love that, I think Estelle Perel said it in one of her interviews. She said, but when I need someone to feed my cat, there is no one I can ask. because it's an illusion of connection. It's just an illusion that so many likes and, you know, like, oh, like people are kind of like, it is social media for sure, right? And I feel that just being more raw and authentic, and you don't have to share if you don't feel like it. I would never push anyone to share your story, but that's the reason why, like, even I started doing the documentary series like right now, because I want to bring every woman's story into the life, and I want a woman who is doubting or going through certain very challenging time, look at her and be able to connect to her, because I am like not far away from you, you know, like, and just I believe that women can change the trajectory of like our world, because if we in that we nurture, we love, like we make the room, like, I don't know, like soft, or we can make it very dense, you know, like, and like oof, like cheese, like you can feel that energy. So I feel like the more we can help women open up their hearts and feel safe in it, right, and know that nobody can hurt you, and also being with a closed heart, it's also not the option, because then it just because everything is so difficult and tough and everything is so gray in the world, right? And like when we do this collectively, that's how we change the world.
Mm-hmm. And I like that you said the word gray, because when I think of a woman who is embodied and thriving, she adds color
Yes.
to the room.
Yes.
She adds color to the world. And so there's no benefit to women shrinking,
Mm-hmm.
because when we stand in our power, it inspires another woman to stand in
Yes.
her power.
Mirror
It's not
neurons.
about
That's even like as simple as that. You know, when you see another woman walking into the room like this, just by the mirroring the neurons in your brain, you will be doing that. Like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. And there's a lot of brainwave syncing in a room, and that's why I love doing the all women's group hypnosis, because there's something about the energy in the room and the brainwave syncing and us feeling safe with each other and allowing ourselves to be seen and heard and go as deep as we need to go in order to really unpack what's holding us back.
I believe in vibration. Like, it's not that, like, I've studied that about the vibration, power versus force. If you've read that book, I've tested myself. I'm like, oh, where am I right now? Like, there's a scale, right, that you can see. And I'm like, my analytical mind, like, let's go and see, like, and study some, like, find studies actually. And there are devices that measure your vibration, like, it's just so there. And I believe that when you're vibrating on the heart, like, again, like attracts like. You're vibrating from the open heart and love, you attract more of that. You want to give, like, you know, I feel like also, like, another thing is that there is a journey from overgiving to start, like, learning how to receive. And then there is like a scale of balance where you actually, when your cup is full, you want to give, like, all I want to is just give, but I also know how to receive in this point, and I also know how to just say no if I don't feel so, right? And like when you get into this, I want to give more, the more love, the more joy, the more care, the more just, like, you know, how important is it, even if you in the aura of the person who just listens to you, who asks the questions. Wow, tell me more. I love it. That's what you said. Like, why are you going there? Tell me why you want to go to Vietnam. Like, wow, it's so fascinating. You know how that person feels in your aura? It's just amazing if you feel heard. So I feel like when you raising that vibration, that the universe and the God just gives you back, like, more of what you give. Like, you receive what you give. Right?
Yeah, you attract what you are.
Yes, inside. And like that, the work, that's it was, I think, the first event that you did with women only, that I also visited that one, right? Yeah. Like I haven't visited the one with men, but I definitely had like experience with like group meditations with men. I don't want to say good or bad, it's just different. It's way different. And I have like very similar to like journey to you when I started just like shifting towards women more because I'm like, oh, that's a lot of masculinity. I wanna work in that space. And the group session that you had definitely felt so like mom's hands,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so great.
Yeah. The word I described that first event was soft. Like there's a softness in the room.
Yeah.
There's this gentleness that I didn't realize was not missing, but like definitely not as elevated in the past. The softness and the gentleness was way more elevated when it was an all women's event.
Yeah.
And I know when you were there at my group session, the group session before was co-ed, and it was very intense energetically because we had men and women in there. And so that was the noticeable difference when we changed it to all women's, and the softness and the gentleness actually allowed many of you to go even deeper. Yeah.
The different like almost different air. Yeah, I totally like when I did like my workshops with co-ed, I felt so exhausted by the end. And then I saw the difference when it was just only women. It was actually, I was way more energized by the end. I was like, I can do another one right now, And that's just interesting like, observation. Yeah. Okay. So, Kim, do you want to do the hypnosis?
Yeah, I'd love to. So I know you mentioned before that hypnotherapy doesn't work for you.
Oh, it haven't. It just hasn't at that moment. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to explain to the audience, like you can think of hypnotherapy as a guided meditation, and there's really no right or wrong way to do this. And with hypnosis, if you just detach from the, what you're supposed to feel, yes, then ultimately it works.
It works, yes. And I guess I love that you describe it in this way because the therapist I worked with, we had like 3 sessions. She gave me almost like that's just gonna be like that's what has to happen with you. And when I told her like I really didn't like I didn't feel it, maybe like my nervous system wasn't ready to let me go there deeper. I almost felt guilty for not for just failing her. So that's when I'm like, that wasn't really good experience.
Yeah. And so like for our quick little 15-minute hypnotherapy session, my invitation for you is to be with you and take this as a meditative experience where you get to be curious about what's inside, and we get to do a little bit of inner work, like inner child healing and some reparenting. And typically I do an hour-long session, and you've done that before. For the sake of this podcast, I'm going to do about a 15-minute experience. And your job is to do as little as possible to allow it to not make sense. And yeah, just make yourself comfortable.
I love it. Okay, that's first time. So whatever comes in, comes in.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want me to just like...
Yeah, feet on the ground. And right now, as you continue to get more comfortable, I'm actually going to invite you to look up as high as you possibly can with your eyes open.
Okay. Yeah.
And go ahead and breathe in and breathe out. Take another deep breath in and a deep breath out. And one final time, breathe in, keep your eyes up. And this time, as you exhale, just close your eyelids down, all the way down. And as your eyelids have shut down, the muscles and nerves in and around your eyes are becoming heavy, droopy, and drowsy. So just forget about your eyes and allow a drifting, floating feeling to develop in your body. Relax your neck and your shoulders. Relax your back, your chest, your stomach. Relax your arms, your legs, your fingers, your toes. Now notice the muscles in your face, your forehead, your jaw, and just allow every part of you to completely relax. And now drop your chin just a fraction so you can feel that looking down sensation you get, as if you are looking over a balcony or down 10 beautiful steps. And as I count down, just see your feet, hear your feet, and feel your feet treading each and every step. And so right now, you're moving on to step 10, going deeper into an awareness of yourself. You're taking step 9, letting go of any stress. You're taking step 8, feeling good, feeling relaxed. You're taking step 7, letting go of any worries. You're taking step 6, feeling grounded, feeling present. You're taking step 5, you are halfway there. Go deeper. You're taking step 4, going deeper into your own internal state. You're taking step 3, feeling so deeply relaxed. You're taking step 2 with every sound and noise and movement around you. It's all just carrying you further and deeper. You're taking step 1, just go deeper, drift deeper, sink deeper. And deeper just means going deeper into an awareness of yourself. And so right now, I want you to imagine your eyes are sealed shut. They are glued shut. They are locked tight. And the harder you try to open them, the more they feel absolutely locked tight. So once again, just forget about your eyes and allow a drifting, floating feeling to continue to develop throughout your body. And right now, you are in a perfect state of relaxation. It's beautiful, it's calm, it's safe. And so now my invitation for you is to picture the home you lived in between the ages of 2 and 8. And if you lived in more than one home, your brilliant mind will choose the right home for you. And so on the count of 5, you are drifting back to this home. On the count of 4, you are becoming younger. On the count of 3 and 2, you're becoming smaller, lighter, shorter, drifting back. And on the count of 1, you're going back easily. Years, months, weeks, days are peeling away as you go back to this home. And so now imagine standing at the front door. I want you to open the door, and as you enter the home, you find that everything is familiar to you. Take a moment now to look for the bedroom you slept in as a child. And as you enter the bedroom, there she is, that little you. You recognize her and she recognizes you. The two of you have a perfect connection. And as you look at this child, you look at her with love and grace. And you think about everything she is longing to hear. And as you think about the words that she longs to hear, I want you to say them to her out loud. And so even before you start speaking to her, Julia, how old is she?
5.
All right. And so as you look at 5-year-old you tell her everything she is longing to hear. And I want you to start with, I love you.
I love you. I see you. You're beautiful. The sky is the limit. It's not your fault.
Go ahead and tell her you matter.
You matter.
You are significant.
You are significant.
You are enough.
You are enough.
You always have been.
You always have been.
And you always will be.
And you always will be.
Everything is available to you.
Everything is available to you.
There is nothing we cannot do.
There is nothing we cannot do.
Beautiful. And so now, Julia, I want you to imagine transporting 5-year-old you into the home you live in now. You give her a grand tour of your life. You can introduce her to Loki, your dog. You can introduce her to all your friends, your loved ones. Show her the meaningful life that you live, a life of impact and service and love. And you give her a moment to be so proud of herself. And now, whenever you're ready, I want you to imagine her hovering just above you. And you picture her slowly descending down, merging into your body, merging into your heart. And you can feel her fully merged within you. And she is never going back because she has been upgraded. She is living in a wonderful, abundant world where she will always be safe and taken care of and loved. And you've got her. Go ahead and take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And in a moment, as I count you forward with each number, you carry this feeling of pride, of peace with you back into the room. So on the count of 1, feeling good, feeling confident, feeling empowered. On the count of 2, feeling peaceful, feeling joy, feeling lightness. On the count of 3 and 4, taking a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And on the count of 5, you can gently blink your eyes open, coming back to your full awareness right now.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So beautiful. Wow.
Thank you for sharing your heart
yeah,
and going there.
It was absolutely magical. It's interesting that I pictured the house, which was my grandma's and my grandpa's, and those memories from that time probably never gonna like go away from me because that's where I felt home. And it was, even though we lived in like 3 different apartments, you know, like from the 2 to 8, that always felt like where my heart is, connecting with nature. And, you know, my grandma, we were so close. And that was just an amazing moment when, you know, I saw her. I was just like, she was so like, she was smiling, but at the same moment, it was somehow like I like felt a little bit like, I don't want to say sad, but like something very deep.
Yeah, like a longing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And like with the work that I do, it's a lot of just taking care of whatever's longing on your heart.
And that was actually when I said it's not your fault. It's I was not the oldest. My mom has the sister, so she's my godmother, and she has 2. It's like my cousins, right? But we are so close. I like our family really like so. We kind of feel like the same family. We are, and I always was responsible for watching my like little cousin, and whatever happened with him was my fault all the time. Like he got lost at, it was like an Easter big gathering at the church, and all of a sudden I'm responsible for this, and I was like 5, like, you know, like, and then I think it was a little bit like towards like 6 7, because that was like the first grade. And I never understood why, like, why am I to blame? That's not like, I am the same child. So like I had to be so responsible from that like early age.
At 5 years
Yeah,
old.
just
That's
watching
a lot.
him and like caring for him and making sure he's okay. And you know that, and I like, we're very close right now. I love him, but I guess like those, I've never experienced that, like what that meant for me, you know, and how did I carry this in my life right now. So definitely going back to you, I really want to explore that, because that just was so like heavy, because then I had this guilt and the fear of punishment, because the punishment would be screaming from my parents and saying like that I'm like stupid and how could I've done it, like, and you know, all of those things. And when I took her here, she was absolutely like, she was
This place is beautiful.
yeah, she was jumping. She was like, oh, that's all us?
We have a dog.
Yeah, it's like, wow. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I grew up having allergies, so like I couldn't have any pets. That was so amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're very
That's
welcome.
so beautiful. So before we jump into the signature question, I actually want to do something for you too. So this is the deck of cards that really absolutely magical. I believe in this because I put a lot of magic in here. So I want you to just think about intention or something that's in your heart right now. You can hold them, hold the cards, and just think about that intention.
Do you want me to share out loud?
So the first, just like keep it inside, and then once we get the card, you can then just find the card that you want. Mm-hmm.
Okay, do I spread it out?
Yeah, do whatever.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, interesting. Okay, so the card is choices. Yes, 12-12. Okay, I'm gonna read it for you out loud, and then you're gonna share your intention. So, you have been consumed with inner conflict and need to address it before it causes damage. Self doubt and insecurities may be holding you back from making major growth moves. moves. Turn your intention toward making real positive change in choices for your mental health. Actively put your own needs first. So, overwork leading to energy drain. Call to put yourself first, resolving lingering inner conflict, addressing insecurity and self doubt. And your affirmation will be putting myself and my mental health first is never selfish.
Wow. Interesting that this came up. I have been feeling very conflicted because at the start of this year, I set out an intention of like, okay, I'm calling in my person. So this was definitely like a love life intention. And so in the beginning of the year, I set this intention of I'm going to call in my person this year and I'm going to meet my future husband. And every day I've been praying for his well-being. Like, oh, I'm praying that my future husband is sleeping well, he's healthy, he's fulfilled, he's happy. And as of lately, I've been feeling called to go on this solo trip to Vietnam. And it feels like that original intention at the beginning of the year is no longer going to work out. Because it feels like I get to do this trip first and do this soul searching and connect with my heritage and heal parts of me that I've disconnected from my culture. And so I have been getting a lot of male attention, lots of people asking me to go on dates. And in my mind, it's like, what's the point in exploring anything right now when I'm about to leave the country and not know when I'm coming back? And so it was interesting that the choices card came up. It's like, oh, what choice do I get to make? And I don't know if
and it says choose yourself.
Yeah, choose myself. And when I hear choose myself, that means allowing both possibilities. Like, oh, like I'm creating the resistance just by questioning and doubting. Whereas like, oh no, what if I am calling in my husband and I get to go on this trip and I get to have both.
And what if you go there and you meet the person there and, you never know, he might be from Austin or America or whatever it is. I feel like that's just like, it's just like, ooh, let's be curious, allowing, not restricting that reality to bring him to your life from just the perspective of how you think it should happen, like, oh, it should happen in Austin, me going on dates, but it could happen like literally anywhere on the plane.
Yeah.
Like you never know. So just like be open, like you have that pure intention. And by choosing going back to Vietnam and connecting to your deeper self, I almost feel like you're gonna unlock that exact key, like the door that gonna bring that person into your life.
Yeah, I get to stop like creating these stories like, oh, I'm going to meet my husband. Nope, I'm not going to meet my husband because I'm going on this trip. What if the story was like, this is all happening for me and it's happening, it's already planned, it's already perfectly designed, and I get to surrender and keep leaning into it and stop using this trip to Vietnam as an excuse to say no to, no to men.
Yes, I love it. All right, we're going to have you after you come back. I'm going to see you with the story because I definitely believe it's going to be very interesting for you.
Life is going to be very different in the next few months.
Yeah, and it's also like the growth point, it's like your next level. So I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, we have 3 signature questions on this podcast. So the first one, what would you say to the woman who knows she meant for more but is scared to bet on herself?
Ooh. That feeling that you are feeling is there for a reason. That's your intuition telling you that you're meant for more, and you get to explore that fear and see where that comes from, because what's getting in the way is the way. Face that fear.
Yeah, I love it. What's getting in the way is the way. Yes, I love it. I love it.
So explore that fear.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That's amazing. If you had to describe your transformation in 3 words, what would they be?
Divine, powerful, And the word that's coming up for me is sweet.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah.
Yeah. My transformation has been divine, has been powerful, it has been really sweet.
I love it. I love it. No? And finally, what's one truth you live by now that you didn't before?
If it's to be, it's up to me.
Love it.
Yeah.
You're a creator.
Yeah.
I love it. All right. Thank you so much. It was absolutely amazing.